Okay, so welcome to take 2 of my trying to make this card. The first time I completely screwed it up. I am making a card for the Crafting When We Can challenges. It's a blog on blogspot.com, and this is their week or number 68 challenge, and it is a sketch. And that means that you need to create your card to look like the sketch they've provided. So in the first video, before I messed everything up, I made the card base, which is just a regular A2 card base. And then I did put a panel 1/4 inch smaller all the way around on the inside for people to write, because that's pretty busy. Couldn't really write a message on that. So we've got our card base done. And the next part is our front panel, which I have cut this kind of mustard and orange paper to fit on the front panel, or to fit on the front. And again, this is 1/4 inch smaller than the 5.5 by 4 1/4. So it's 5 1/4 by 4. But as you can see in our sketch, there needs to be some little corner detail here. So we're going to add that, and we're going to do that using this nifty Fiskars punch. It punches on one side and embosses on the other. So let's go ahead and we just put the corner in there like that and punch. And that punches out this little design that's kind of cool. I like it. And then we can go even further, and I'm going to have to stand up for this one because it requires some serious pressure. So we can go even further and put it in the other side. And, oh yeah, let me get it in there straight so we don't screw it up. All right, and we're going to smoosh, smoosh, smoosh. Smush with all my weight, because this thing takes some smushing. All right, let's see how we did. Well, not so fantastic. Oh well. The corner is cut, so we have that little detail. And now when we put that on our card, we have the little corner detail that it wants. Okay, so next we need a stripe kind of across the center. So we're going to put this over here. And I have cut these 2 pieces to be our stripe. This is, I think, 1 1/4 inches wide by, let's see, I think it covers the whole front, so that's going to be 5 1/4, and this is 1 inch wide by 5 1/4, but this is boring, so we're going to jazz it up. I'm going to do that with our Cuttlebug embossing folder. Just going to lay this in here like so, and just make sure we got kind of a neat design going down our line there. Okay, here's our sandwich. We've got A, we've got B, which I've cut up real bad. All right, and our folder, and our second B. Now we're going to take our sandwich, bring our Cuttlebug over here. I'm going to get our sandwich in the Cuttlebug and roll it on through. Alright, out the other end. Move the Cuttlebug. There we go. There we go. Alright, open her up, and there is our embossed little whatchamajig. So, now this is going to go on top of here, and we are going to, I am going to do my dead level best to make it straight. Now, I wonder if I can get this off here, because I think white would be a whole lot easier for you to see. This is just a placemat from the dollar store. I got that idea from Lindsay the Frugal Crafter. She's pretty awesome. I watch all of her videos. She does some neat stuff. Okay, so we're going to put some adhesive on the back of this little sucker here. All right, just like that. And now, once again, I'm going to do my dead level best to get this as straight as I can and as centered as I can. And hey, I think we did okay. All right, so we got that piece done. And we are going to, oh, I got that tag all over my fingers. Okay, we won't mess with that again for a while. All right, so here's our front panel. We're going to bring this back, and this is going to go kind of right across, sort of in the middle. So let's put some adhesive on the back of this whole thing. All right. And then, once again, going to try to get it straight as I can. Haha! Okay, see, this is where the last video failed because this thing was like all going up like this and I thought I could just take it off, but no, see, permanent bond glue runner. It's really permanent. I promise. I swear to God it is. Okay, so we are coming along on our card front here. We've got that part done. Now what's next? We have kind of a big rectangle that's matted over here. So let's put that aside. And here is the papers that I have cut to make that big rectangle. Oh, the papers are actually from this designer paper pad from KC Company. It doesn't look like it has a name. Oh yes, it does. Que Sera Sera. Oh, I'm a smart one. Que Sera Sera designer paper pad. And it's just got a whole bunch of different designs. A lot of them are hugely busy. And so I've been using kind of the back sides, which are a little less, oh my gosh. So anyway, that's where these papers are coming from, except for the smooth cardstock. And that's just the stock bins at Hobby Lobby. So, all right, we need to get this matted on our mat. No, shouldn't have done that. Okay, so now let's try to get this as centered as we can. And that's not too bad. Not too bad. All right, so let's bring this back over here. Well, actually, we don't need the whole card. So this is going to go kind of right here on the card face, but I'm not gonna nail that down just yet because there is another smaller rectangle, plus we have to add an element here before we finish up. So let's leave that loose for right now and make our smaller rectangle, which again, I've cut some of the designer paper and some smooth cardstock in kind of a sage green, but this is, again, boring. So let's jazz it up here with our Cuttlebug once again. And I'm just going to use the same folder just to maintain a little bit of continuity in the design since the papers are like seriously busy. And I'm going to try to get this as kind of square as I can. All right, and we'll make our sandwich AB folder B. All right, and bring our Cuttlebug back here. Get this plugged in and run through, if we can. All right, out the other side. Cuttlebug moved. All right, so here is our second Cuttlebugged piece. It's been Cuttlebugged. All right, so we're going to put that on there like that. So I'll get some adhesive here. And on the back of this it goes. Whoa. All right, shoot, I keep getting tape all over the place. All right, so let me, again, quit talking so I can concentrate. Any of the rest of you have that issue? I can't walk, breathe, and chew gum, so. All right, here we go. Crud. Got a little bit of smooch. There we go. Okay, so that's on there, and wow, maybe that's not quite so straight. All right, well, it's a pretty busy pattern, so hopefully that'll kind of mask that. All right, so let's bring this back here, and our sketch. Here, I'm gonna fold this so we can kind of see what we got going on here. Okay, so this goes here, and this kind of overlaps a bit there. So I think we can nail these down now. All right, use adhesive, just like that. All right, and we're gonna put that down like that. Okay, and then this little guy goes over top, kind of centered like that. All right, so we'll get some adhesive on the back of him. All right, and we're gonna put him, oh, we need to move him over some, right there. All right, so we have that first part. So now we need to make our little embellishment piece there. And I'm going to do it with some pre-made these little Prima flowers, I guess they are. These little pre-made paper flowers. And we've got orange and pink and some white in our card. So I've got orange, pink, and white in the flowers. And so, wow, these are kind of beat up. I think I've had these for a really long time and just never used them. All right, so we need to glue these things. How are we going to glue these things? Do we want to glue them or no, we want to glue them. We don't want to put a brad down the center because I want to put, I think, a little gemstone in there. So let's get some glue. And the glue I use most often is the Craft Bond Quick Dry glue pen from Elmer's. And it has kind of this little precision end thing so that I can get only just a little bit of glue where I want it. Alright, and I'm just going to kind of stagger these petals, put this right down in the center, try not to get myself all gluey, but that hardly ever works. Okay, and another little dot, and we're going to stagger the white petals as much as we can there. Alright, put that down in the center. I'm not putting any more glue on, I'm just using the tip to smush it down. And while we've got a little teeny kind of glue dot in there, so let's use that to our advantage and stick a gem in there while it's like that. And I've got these little thingies. They're supposed to be self-adhesive, but they are so not. Alright, so let's see. Ha-ha! Alright, so we stuck our little gem down in there. See if we can clean up a little bit of glue there. Okay, so there's our flower, and this is for our little element, which the star just kind of means any element can go there. It doesn't necessarily need to be a star, although this is kind of a star. So that works. Alright, and so let's bring this back over. Here's our card base, here's our front panel that we're working on, and we will take our little flower, and we're not going to do it just yet because of course he's not all the way dry yet. He's going to go kind of like right there. Alright, so the last element of our card is this matted circle kind of right in the center. And so I have cut one little circle and then another little circle about 1/4 inch smaller. And I cut this out of watercolor paper just because I thought I was picking up white cardstock, but I wasn't. I was picking up watercolor paper. So, oh well. But here's the tricky part. I want to emboss this Recollections tree stamp. Yeah, it's by Recollections, and it's doesn't have a name, I don't think. Stamp. It has a name. It's called Stamp. But here's going to be kind of the tricky part. This is a wood stamp, not a see-through stamp, so we're going to do our dead level best to get it centered as much as we can. And let's see. I've got 2 colors of ink here, and it's the kind of mustard yellow and the orange. But since the matte's more mustard than it is orange, I think we're going to do the tree and the orange ink. All right, and this is pigment ink. So this takes quite a long time to dry. So I think it would probably hold the clear embossing powder all by itself, but I'm not going to take a chance. So we're going to use some clear embossing ink as well. And so the way that you do that, and let me just, I've got my clear embossing powder here in my little container. So I'm going to get that open and ready. All right. And so the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to take my clear embossing pad and I'm going to juice this stamp up pretty good. All right. And we don't want this one. We want to stamp on this one. And then we're going to take our orange pigment pad and again juice that stamp up pretty good. All right, now for the part where, let me see, maybe if I stand up and come straight down on it, I can kind of line it up and stamp, and we'll just really hope we made it. Okay, and straight up, and holy moly, we did pretty good there. Okay, so let's get that ink closed, and we're going to take this to our clear embossing powder dish and cover it with embossing powder, and I just do it a couple of times just to make sure. Oh boy, did I make a mess. All right, so the good thing about this is that it's clear embossing powder, because I really should have used my little embossing baggie thing, which is homemade. I basically just filled a stocking with cornstarch, but I should have used it, and I didn't. All right, so let's get that cleared off, but it's clear embossing powder, so it's probably not going to be a huge deal. Oh, we need our heat tool, and I'm going to hold this with some tweezers here because it gets hot. It gets hot, and I don't want my fingers right underneath the heat tool. All right, so we're just gonna heat this up until that clear embossing powder melts and kind of raises our little tree up here. There we go. And let's see. Okay, I think he is done. All right. Doesn't take long, just a few seconds, and then I drop my heat gun, and well, I guess I'll be buying a new one of those. Ooh, look, that's why it's dollar store. Okay, we melted it. All right, so we've got our little tree image on there. So the next thing to do is to matte him on the kind of mustard yellow background. So let's go ahead and add some adhesive to the back of him. All right, and we will do our best again to get him nice and centered in the middle of that circle as best we can. And wow, okay, we did a pretty good job there. Nice work. All right, so now here's our sketch. All right, And here's our card. So I'm going to pop him up a little bit. He's going to have kind of some dimension, and he already has dimension that we don't want to squish. So we're going to move these two out of the way for just a minute, and we're going to get our card back attached to our card base. And we're going to use some adhesive just like that. Okay. And I don't want that to, let's see. I'm just going to kind of put a little extra on the edges there. Okay, so now, this is like my most favorite part, is trying to make sure I get all of this straight. Okay, well, I think I did a fairly decent job there. All right. So, now, the next thing that we are going to do is to put our little paper flower in place. And he's going to go right there. And I think probably the easiest way to get him on there is to use a glue dot. And am I the only person that didn't know this? The glue dots are on the front and the back of that tape when it comes out of the box. I might be the only person who didn't know that. Okay, well, and the glue dot wants to stick to me more than it wants to stick to the paper. All right, so let's get him down. Okay, he is stuck. Let's move those glue dots out of the way. All right, and so now we're going to pop up our little tree. So we need some little adhesive foam thingies, little foam squares. And I just buy these, I don't know, wherever I find them for like $1, because, well, I mean, they're foam. So I'm not gonna spend $4 or $5 on foam. All right, let me get the little backy things off the foam squares. But I will tell you, the ones that cost more than $1, I'm sure that they are thicker and probably get a little bit better adhesion. I'm just willing to work with these to only spend $1. So, all right, we've got all our little backers off that, and now we're going to put our little tree down in the center of our card and just make sure all those little foam dots are there. Okay, and so I'm thinking that kind of completes our card. And there's our sketch, and I think we did pretty darn good. So, hope you liked this video. It's my first one in making a card. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And there are many more to come, along with other crafts that I do, because I am a total craftaholic. So there'll be many more to come, so please subscribe so you can be notified of when the next ones come. Thanks very much for visiting today. We'll talk to you again soon.